Good evening and welcome to the Temecula Community Services Division Commission meeting of January 11th, 2021. I will call this meeting now to order. And as usual, we will start with flag salute. And Commissioner Adi, would you be so kind?
I would. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. So we are now on to, hard to believe, the third part of our agenda, which is the swearing in of Catherine Sizemore. And before I do, I just wanted to take one last opportunity to thank our great colleague Dale Borgeson for his years of service here. I know we're all going to miss Dale, but all looking forward to seeing him around town. And with that, Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is absolutely my pleasure to join you, Community Services Commissioners, to go ahead and swear in your newest colleague, Catherine Sizemore. Catherine, welcome to the Temecula team, the Temecula family. We're going to go ahead and conduct the virtual swearing in on this commission call today. And then in the mail, you will receive your official hard copy, as well as a little note to go ahead and sign in return. So with that, if you would like to go ahead and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Catherine Sizemore,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, Commissioner Sizemore.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk, and an official warm welcome to you, Kathy. Kathy, I know you as Kathy. What do you prefer from the commission?
Kathy is great.
Very good. Welcome, Kathy. And let's get everybody else on the roll here.
Ready for roll
Jennifer?
call? Okay.
Yep.
Commissioner Krastevsky,
Here.
Commissioner Adi,
Here.
Commissioner Sizemore,
Here.
Vice Chair Ruiz,
Here.
and Chair Levine.
I am here.
Okay.
All right. And Jennifer, do we have any public comments this evening?
We do not.
Well, we will dispense with the reading of those rules then and move on to the exciting part of the agenda, which are the division reports. Who will be going first this evening? Looks like Bea.
I will.
Cassandra.
Cassandra.
Well, then it's Cassandra.
All right, good evening and happy new year, everyone. I'm Cassandra Hargett. I'll be presenting the first part of tonight's Community Services Commission report. And first off, we have aquatics. In December, 7 new team members were hired and 2 were welcomed back. This was the first hiring for aquatics since spring of 2019. An American Red Cross training course took place this month with 8 participants. Upcoming classes are currently open for registration. 3 hiring workshops will be taking place this month. 2 of them will be held virtually over Zoom, and 1 will be held in person, following social distancing guidelines at the CRC Amphitheater. 100-mile swim restarted this month. This program challenges lap swimmers to swim 100 miles during the calendar year. All participants receive a personal tracking sheet, and finishers receive a free t-shirt. Next slide. Contract classes. Classes have been successfully held outdoors since July, and we ended the year with a variety of class options, including fitness, art, and performing arts. In January, we start the new year by offering outdoor fitness classes and encourage participants to get active in 2021. All classes adhere to current state health and safety mandates. Next slide. Community Recreation Center. Teen Zone successfully hosted its first theme box meetup. This virtual event was sold out with 30 boxes distributed and with 17 teens participating in the virtual meetup. During the virtual meetup, led by Teen Zone staff, participants crafted together and played holiday-themed games. Existing and new Teen Zone participants were engaged and happy to see each other. Next theme box meetup is January 23rd, and registration is now open. Next slide. Homeless outreach. CDBG funding was approved for 3 clients to receive rental and utility assistance. Big thank you to Rodney Tidwell for providing a city vehicle to the Homeless Outreach Division to safely visit encampments and perform outreach. There has been a visible decrease in encampments on city and flood control property. Finalizing agreement with SWAG currently for street outreach services. This will include a focus on street exits and by name census in lieu of pit count, which has been canceled this year. Program will be reevaluated after 3 months to determine the best way to move forward. Project Touch is operating its winter shelter right now at the Roadway Inn through April 1st. City is providing $10,000 in assistance to help supplement fundraising shortfall due to COVID. Next slide. Inclusive Senior Services. High Hope, Skip, and other programs are still being offered virtually via Zoom. Participants enjoyed picking up craft supplies to create their own ornament and sang songs and read Christmas classics with Santa Claus. Yak focused on the Letters to Santa project and wrote return letters to those who sent letters to Santa. They also collaborated with the Holiday Food Drive. Next slide. Senior meals are still being distributed curbside to approximately 125 seniors each Friday. Over 30,500 meals have been distributed to seniors during the pandemic. In partnership with the Rotary Club of Temecula, seniors were able to drive through and pick up meals for the holiday week and receive a gift from Santa. Rotary Club of Temecula also provided 61 senior households with ham baskets. Mary Phillips Senior Center is currently operating as a warm center for vulnerable individuals. The warm center will be in effect through the end of March and is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. Donations from the Holiday Food Drive allowed the center to host a mini food pantry for seniors to pick up a bag of groceries and a blanket donated by Rancho Christian School. Library is currently open for express services where patrons can place holds on materials and pick them up curbside. The library participated in the Care Right Reverse Parade with 175 participating cars and 550 viewing participants. December offered 20 virtual programs that included story times, trainings, crafts, and book lists. Parks and facilities. The Mike Nagar Park has hockey rink resurfacing scheduled for this week, and Eagle Soar Playground surface cleaning and sealing planned for mid-January. Mike Nagar Monument sign and Friendship Park dedication sign under review, anticipating installation in March. Mini pump track at Ronald Reagan is now open. Playground replacement updates. Sam Hick Playground anticipated to complete this week. Sam Hicks Park perimeter fencing anticipated to start construction in March or April of this year. Winchester Creek Park is currently under construction, expected to be completed mid-February. Stephen Lennon Jr. Memorial Park is under construction and expected to be completed early March. Friendship Park Playground will have construction beginning this week. Next slide. Athletic fields continue to be booked for practice only at this time. Youth leagues have confirmed they will attempt to have spring season following all CDC guidelines. Also preparing for adult softball league to begin in March, depending on state and CDC guidelines at that time. Park rangers have faced challenges during the past month that has limited resources and patrols at parks and facilities, but anticipate being back at full strength by the end of this month. Rangers will continue to educate the public on current CDC guidelines at playgrounds, parks, and facilities. This concludes my portion of the report. We'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great. Thank you, Cassandra. Great report. And we'd expect nothing less. We'll go ahead and start with, let's start with Kathy. You're at the top. Any comments or questions?
Not at this time.
Fair enough. Chris, how about you?
As usual, it's a great report. Great to hear all the awesome things you guys are doing. It's good to hear that we hired 7 new team members in aquatics, that we're hiring again. That's always a good sign. And that we brought on 2 of the former members. I know in Escondido, we're having issues with quarantines per the CDC guidelines. If someone is exposed possibly to someone within a period of 15 minutes over the course of 48 hours or something like that, they need to go on quarantine. And that's had an impact on us staffing wise. Is that something that you guys have seen yet?
Short answer is yes. All field personnel are more susceptible to COVID. The good thing, if I can say that, is Gwen runs such a tight shop, and her protocols are second to none, where the safeguards are in place, and from the cleaning and things like that, just to the distancing and precautions that are built into our programming. But eventually, if you're operating, you're exposed. And I believe for a while, we actually had a pretty good track record, and it seemed like closer to the holidays where we started to see more cases. Thank God, nothing fatal. And a lot of the exposure was kind of secondhand, where maybe a member of the lifeguards family, for example, or a friend might have been exposed. And again, the protocols went into place, and just to safeguard our patrons and the balance of our staff, then you would see where they're quarantined and would be taken off of work. So, but a short answer is yes.
A follow-up question to that. I know we had to fine-tune our continuity of operations just to maintain the staffing levels, to be flexible and shift employees to different locations as needed. Is that something that the Temecula Community Services Department has done?
Absolutely. And I think part of what Cassandra reported out on with the hiring is being able to backfill some of those positions. Now, unlike some of our other operations, aquatics pretty much continue year round. And as you know, they're seasonal or part-time employees. Unfortunately, also that we had to, when COVID first hit, we had significant layoffs with our part-time staffing. Our core part-time folks, most of whom were in aquatics, were using and burning through more of their hours. We had additional facilities open, chaparral pool and things like that, because the schools weren't using them. So we were burning through more of our lifeguard hours. And so with the protocols, burning through the hours, kind of the backfill or the continuity of operations, you saw or you're hearing now where we're able to kind of hire some additional employees so we can spread those hours out. But if you're in recreation and you're pointing it out, we're all faced with the same challenges, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Great job with what you guys have going on currently. And again, the other point I had was I'm just constantly blown away at how many meals you guys have given away since COVID started. I mean, 30,500, that's phenomenal. Great job to everybody on the team.
Thank you.
Great. Gary, comments or questions?
Yes. First, welcome Commissioner Sizemore. It's just like Chris's swearing in, we didn't get to necessarily spend a lot of time because we jumped right into the pandemic, but welcome to our group. And as we move through these times, I'm sure you'll see the fantastic things that are done here in the community services. Plus, it is the Fun Commission, so we hope you are ready to be a part of that tradition. I do have one question on, you mentioned the outreach program, just briefly, Cassandra, and for Kevin or staff on this. We've been given some updates on how we're administrating the HOTS team, but if we could just have some quick clarification on where we are in terms of where we are with the HOTS team and the administration of it.
Well, perfect question, and it's a great night for it because our homeless outreach manager and administrator is now Mike Wooten. And Mike happens to be here. Mike, I can cover it, but I don't want to steal your thunder. So you want to provide a quick update? And, I know that the pit or the point in time count was referenced to. Maybe some quick background on why that's been canceled and some of your efforts as it relates to street level homeless outreach and things like that.
Oh, absolutely. So as Kevin said, I moved over to homeless outreach. It's been a few months now. Been a lot of learning. I'm really, really enjoying my time there and learning and making the connections that we are. But so right now that's myself, Mark Martinez is over there, and Crystal Menzimer. And then, kind of going along with what Commissioner Krastevsky had asked, Patrice Brown has actually came over and is helping fill in some of the duties over there as well. And then I can't forget Lacey Sisler. She's killing it with a lot of the analytical work. She's working with CDBG reps, different partners that we have in the area. So we have a good team right now. I'm really happy with the team that we have in place. And so we work closely with the HOT team for the Temecula Police Department. They have 4 deputies and a sergeant assigned to it. We routinely go out to encampments with them and try to do some street outreach ourselves. They enforce when needed, and then also try to really clean up the encampments as much as we can to make sure that there's not any hazards or dangers or really high visibility as well from it. So we feel like we've started to make good progress. One of the things I think we've really been lacking is street outreach services. We've been doing that ourselves. Unfortunately, we were not as trained or are skilled as a licensed case managers and those that have that specific skills. So we're actually finalizing an agreement with SWAG, who was our previous street outreach provider. So it's actually being routed right now for signatures. We hope to have them on in the next week or two. And we really think that'll help, with some of these street exits, getting individuals into different care facilities, and doing what we can to get them off the street. So Kevin had mentioned the PIC count, and what that is, that's an annual point in time count that are the official numbers of homelessness for a particular city, region. And we are part of the Riverside County Continuum of Care. And this year they have requested an exception from the Department of HUD to skip the PIC count this year due to COVID and the trouble getting volunteers and adequate staff to perform that. So that would normally take place, I believe actually it would have been next week. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that this year, but SWAG, with them coming on board, they are going to do a by name census of the entire homeless population in Temecula. So I think actually it might be more useful internally for us because we'll really get to know the individuals that are out there, their names. In a point in time count, it's not as detailed as the census that they'll do. So while that's an official record, this I think internally will be really helpful to work with them, work with PD and our different nonprofits to get on the same page, including Community Mission of Hope, to do what we can to help individuals get off the street and really decrease our homeless numbers as much as possible.
Thanks,
Hope that
Mike.
answers the question.
Were there any additional questions?
That was great. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Way more than I expected.
Hopefully I didn't ramble. But
Great. And last but not least, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Commissioner Sizemore, to the family here. And Cassandra, thank you for your report. Just a couple of comments. I was happy to hear the update. Thank you, Mike, as well, for the detail on homeless, because I had heard some concerns over the last couple of months of an actual increase. So to hear that there's a visible decrease and that you guys are getting out there and staying on top of it, I think is great. I would imagine, since it's coming from HUD, that the answer is no, but is not doing a PIC count have any impact in funding or grants available to us for homeless at all?
no, that won't impact any funding this year.
Great, perfect.
And just to add, I'm sorry, when we're talking about visible decrease, we really try to make an effort on the encampment cleanups and flood control in city property. Unfortunately, there's a lot of private property as well in different areas. So that's been a challenge right now, is working with the different property owners to clean those up. So that's one area that we're really trying to work and focus on as well.
You may consider, and I know we did this before, God, maybe even 2 years ago, when I've talked to people and had people tell me, hey, I'm noticing an encampment or noticing homelessness in the neighborhood. I refer a lot of people to our Temecula app where they can report it straight through. And surprisingly, there's still a lot of people that aren't aware of that, or say, I don't know which number to contact. I don't know who to call, but with the app, how it directs everything too. So maybe it might be worth revisiting if you guys are looking at doing some outreach. I know Robin made a video, I think at one point about it. So either recirculating that video or maybe doing a new one, but just, saying if there's concerns or people see homeless with just one caveat, obviously, of it, but that it definitely does get into the right hands, because that's been a helpful tool that I've been able to share. And then my only other comments were regarding the parks. Happy to see that our responsible finances allow us to continue to upgrade and do the maintenance as necessary on the parks. And as I've visited parks over the last couple of months, even knowing that there's been limited resources, our parks are clean. I mean, everything seems to be well maintained. I really haven't noticed. I don't think anyone on the outside would notice that we're short on resources. I think we've done a good job maintaining those parks. I'm a big advocate for that, and I think it speaks, well of our community and of our city. But I have noticed personally, making an effort to check out some of the parks, everything's still staying clean and well maintained, and kudos to everybody for being able to do that with limited resources. And with that, Mr. Chairman, no other questions or comments.
Great. Thank you, Vice Chair. And, I think my fellow commissioners have made a lot of the notes or comments that I would have otherwise made according to my notes here, which is great. And just really one curiosity question when we discuss the stats of the library, just kind of curious how, and you guys can get back to me or even next month, but just kind of curious how that stacks up to, normal in-person services. Do we find, is it like 10% of what it was? Is it 30%? Do we know? Just curious.
Well, in pre-COVID days, we averaged between like say 12 and 1,500 visitors a day most of the year at the library in person. And then during the summer reading program, that would get up to maybe 1,800, even 2,000 would be rare, but once in a while we hit 2,000 visitors a day. So it is less, but relative to the capacity that we have, they are very, very busy, and people really adopted the curbside pickup and started placing their holds and utilizing that regularly. So people have really embraced being able to do curbside pickup at the library.
That's awesome. I mean, because just looking at the numbers on the slide, pretty impressive. And then you forget, oh, hey, it's COVID. So, no, really well done. Thank you.
We will definitely pass that along to Rosie and her fantastic crew. They are just dedicated, top-notch professionals.
Great. Thank you, Erica. All right, Bea.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, and our newest Commissioner. Welcome, Kathy Sizemore. It's a pleasure to meet you. We can't wait till we're all together in one room together so we can do a big group hug when it's safe. But I'm Bea Barnett. I'm the Community Services Superintendent for the Cultural Arts, Community Outreach, and Special Events divisions. I like to refer to us as the Culture Club. The ACE team, which stands for Arts, Culture, and Entertainment, currently has Roxy Rich, a local artist and frequent exhibitor on Art Off the Walls, as our current online virtual art gallery artist. Guests can view the gallery at the Temecula Valley Museum.org site, and she has beautiful urban landscape paintings along with previous artist portraits. In community outreach, we had some significant highlights, even though it was a COVID year. We had almost 100,000 views of Facebook, producing and airing 46 social media videos, including community check-ins and public service announcements. 11,000 views for our new series that just debuted a few months back, Around and About Temecula Park Adventures series, where we're visiting every single solitary park, and we're discovering things we didn't even know. For example, in the new Loma Linda video that's going to air, there's Loma Linda A, B, and C. There's little parklets. It's not just one park, it's 3 little separate parks. So there's things that we're even discovering as we're promoting these parks that Temecula has to offer. We have over 5,000 Facebook and YouTube views for the episodes 20 through 23. And then our Facebook followers increased significantly. The new season is beginning in January 2021, and it's going to be featuring our commissioners. So if you haven't been contacted yet from Jeff Lawrence, you will be soon. We are going to launch a series called Meet Your Commissioners, Meet Your Special Events Team, Meet Your Division to be profiled. So we'll be reaching out to you for some video clips soon. With regard to special events, as you know, special events in person has been truncated quite a bit. However, The things that we have been able to do have been highly successful. We had 27 homes viewed and judged by our esteemed judges here with the commissioners. And then the holiday drive-in movies, although the sign-ups were sold out, 36 cars for each drive-in movie, not as many people showed up, and it's again a product of, you know, the health, welfare, even though everyone is social distance to their cars. I think people around the holidays just get busy and they don't remember they signed up. But the people that did get to experience the drive-in movie experience enjoyed it very much. The letters to Santa were answered all the way to Temecula, Murrieta, Wildemar, Menifee, Winchester, Hemet, Riverside, San Diego, Fallbrook, and El Segundo. So 140 letters were received and answered by Santa. The Here Comes Santa Claus neighborhood visits were wildly successful with 5,000 happy residents and some great press coverage. And with the virtual New Year's grape drop, we had significant views of the concerts as well as actual grape drop views at 9 p.m. and midnight. At the theater, where it's normally our busiest month of the year, with Nutcracker and Christmas Carol, although we weren't able to put those productions on, Sherry Williams came through with a virtual concert for us. It was shot on stage, socially distanced with 2 cameras, incredible lighting. It's a beautiful concert. If you haven't gotten to see it, it aired on Monday the 21st at noon, but it's streaming anytime. I watched it. Many of us just were inspired and uplifted by her beautiful singing, and she's just a pillar of the community. She's part of our family. She's been at the theater since it opened. She's been in the community, and she just, her heart is humongous, and her curating Jazz at the Merc during COVID times, live streaming, she has gone above and beyond the call of duty. So we honor Sherry Williams and love her so much for not letting the arts take a back seat or die during this difficult time. At the museum, we celebrated Christmas around the world with our second Saturdays. Every month we celebrate a different country, and then in December we kind of recap all of them. Tony Morimarco provides a live Zoom 90-minute class. It's free, so mark your calendar for every second Saturday from 11 a.m. The art instructor provides a mixed media art lesson online, and we had 19 participants in December. Although we weren't able to decorate, the Temecula Valley Women's Club Committee usually decorates the rotunda at the museum. We still had a beautiful Temecula wreath painted outside by Tony Morimarco. There's a little recap of what all went on in December. Upcoming for February, between the theater and the museum, we're gonna curate the annual Black History Month celebration, American Black History, and we have some exciting things happening all month long. And then we are also researching a utility box art project, a public art program for this year, hopefully to launch. We served 12,230 residents, virtually or in person. And this concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Wow, fantastic, Bea. Thank you so much. Let's go in our traditional reverse order here. We'll start with the vice chair.
How did I know that was coming? Great report as always. If are you able to go back to that first or the slide on social media?
Yes.
Those numbers are just fantastic, and I know we talk. It seems like almost every month or every other month on how much we've grown, but looking at the growth of these you know, it's I'm always reminded that, you know, people will only follow something that they're interested in, you know, so watching the growth means that we're putting out content that people are excited about. I need to do a better job. I kind of fell off a little bit over the last couple of months, and I would encourage my fellow commissioners to do the same. You know, there's nothing political about what we're posting here on social media, and it's all good news. We can all just click share, take a few minutes to get it out. We capture so many different audiences, but looking at these numbers and seeing the growth and how many people we're contacting here is just outstanding. So great job on that.
Thank you.
And then my only other comment was I received a lot of thank yous and appreciation for the Santa tours that was going around the neighborhood. So I'm super glad that we were able to get that as part of our holiday efforts this past year. Hopefully we can continue to do that in the future because it was very, very well received.
Mhm. Thank you. The numbers are a strong indication of the social media programming during this difficult, stressful year. We're trying to maintain a strong and informed community to maintain our health during this global pandemic. So I think because you can't go out, there's, you know, you've seen everything on Netflix, people are searching out on YouTube things that comfort them, that inform them, and that, you know, entertain them. So we're trying to provide all of that free of charge, you know, as often as possible.
And I think the team does a great job, and Jeff does a great job, you know, because it is an information. I mean, like you mentioned, even about the parks, that no matter how long you've been here, you maybe don't know it yet. It's useful. It's light. It's not, you know, it's not like it's a super long, cumbersome thing that you got to click on to watch. You guys are just doing a great job with it.
Thank you. And Mike Morey is the master editor. He's just amazing. He can make something out of nothing.
And Mr. Chairman, that concludes my comments here.
Thanks, Vice Chair. Commissioner Adi.
Thank you, Chair Levine. Great job, Bay. I have one question. As you mentioned, Black History Month coming up. First of all, can you help me with the name of the extravaganza concert that we had towards the end of the month? What was the name of that?
The one that you attended, Freedom Riders, is that the one? Or last year's was the more of the gospel event?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. But
okay.
I know that you used the same producer for those two events. Is that correct?
Right.
It was just so spectacular last year that I was wondering if you were going to work with that same group for something virtual this year.
I don't think we're doing that same exact event, but it is the same producer, Sharice Turner, our theater manager, and Sherry Williams. And then with Tracy Frick, a lot of the curation this year is going to be online. We are working on a virtual concert, and it would hopefully, if it comes through, it's the continuation of the Freedom Riders trilogy. So it is the same producers, Allen and Gray. They are launched in New York, their next treatment of that trilogy, and we're going to try to get it at the end of the month to present it online virtually. So there won't be anything in person or on our stage, but it will be presented virtually as either a culminating concert, but not that exact same concert that you saw last year, but something previously shared and a continuation of that program.
Okay, great. Thank you. Looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
All right, Commissioner Krastevsky.
Thank you, Bea, for your report. Similar to Commissioner Ruiz, I was just blown away with the social media statistics. I wanted to ask you, with the 46 social media videos that you created, is that typical? Because I know you said it was a little more amplified because of the pandemic. I mean, what was the amount of media videos that you put out last year, if you can remember in ballpark?
Yeah, I will have to research that on last year's report, but it's not in the ballpark of that. And the reason is during the COVID shutdown, we were doing weekly videos of wash your hands, stay inside, wear your mask. So it was enhanced, not just the information that we're providing, but the health, safety, and trust aspect that we were communicating. So
Absolutely.
it was additional content. And, you know, even though we weren't promoting upcoming events, we were still promoting the virtual stuff that we were launching. So
Excellent.
even though you think, oh, nothing's going on because the theater's closed, we're still presenting and producing, just in a different environment.
And Bea and Commissioner, if I can add, that effort was very intentional, as Bea talked about, where, you know, since people were kind of shut in, and, you know, the charge was to just meet people and serve people where they were. And the way to do that was through these virtual and alternate platforms. And so, again, pretty much anything and everything that we were doing, we wanted to ensure that we were getting the word out. And so the effort was intentional. So you see kind of the whole social media numbers blow up. But I mean, that's just that part or that aspect of our operations, just like previously Vice Chair Ruiz talked about, you know, the Christmas parades and in the community parades in Santa. That was a very intentional effort too. We couldn't do our traditional Santa's Electrolyte Parade, but how could we, you know, meet people and serve people where they're at? And that's going through the communities and having Santa. So again, it was part of the overall effort throughout the department. And this was just one aspect of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great work you guys did. Out of curiosity, Bea, do you know which videos brought in the most views? I'm guessing it was the Park Adventure series, but I mean,
That one is getting a lot of hits lately, but I'll look back at the chart and report back to you, because Jeff keeps very specific records of how many views each video received to come up with the roll up of these numbers. But most of them, to my recollection, the ones that were in first place were like the swim series, the one that Melissa put together with Mike. It was a series of the ABCs of swimming. And so it's very informational, very important topics. And it was during the summer when people, you know, were looking for things to do with their families. So because aquatics still remained open and did a hybrid version of family swim lessons, we were able to really jump on those programs that were still activated. And the irony is that around and about episode 1 of December 2017 has the most views, and it's a slideshow basically, because we had no video, we had no concept, we were just launching something, and it has received 15,000 views, and it's our worst, most, you know, primary episode. So the most views is on the most elementary form of communication currently. It's just because
gotcha.
it's been out there longer, and it was, everyone starts at, let me start at episode 1 and work my way. So if you want to get in touch with Temecula Commissioner Sizemore, start with the episode 22 and work your way back so you can catch up with us.
Great. Thank you, Bea.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Chairman, can I just add one other comment here?
Sure.
So we're talking all the stuff about social media, specifically Facebook and YouTube, but whoever does the Instagram for the city and the stories on Instagram is doing a great job as well. A lot of engagement, a lot of fun, you know, kind of little quizzes or response, and do that too. So I just didn't want that to get left out of our comments on social media.
Yeah, that's Brianna Barinda, and she sent an amazing recap recently through the city manager's office, and I can also excerpt it for you guys of the statistics of social media last year, and they are incredibly impressive. So she curates the city of Temecula, and then Mike Morey curates the TCSD Instagram page.
All right. Thank you, Vice Chair. And thank you, Commissioner Krastevsky. And we'll move on to Commissioner Sizemore. How does that sound?
Thank you very much. I must say that I have been following the city and TCSD on Facebook and Instagram for quite a while, and I definitely have seen over the past 9 months an increase in the posting. And like Commissioner Ruiz mentioned, the engagement with the Instagram stories that also follows over to Facebook. I've been trying quite a bit to share posts, especially in my homeowners Facebook group, homeowners association, to kind of get the word of the activities out into the community. I would second, I really miss the Santa's Electric Light Parade. That is a Temecula tradition that I really love. I'm sad that we didn't get to have it this year, but I loved having Santa drive in front of my house. My teenagers were extremely ashamed of their mother with her light up necklace and waving and cheering for Santa. I loved that. And if you were to ask me which one I would prefer, I would be so torn because they're both great. I want Santa. I want the parade next year, and I want Santa to come in front of my house. I loved it. One thing you mentioned that like I said, I am really engaged with the city's social media, but one thing that I wasn't aware of is the theater productions that you have mentioned that are being live streamed. Where do we find those theater productions? Is that going to be on the city site, or is there a separate area for the theater where we find that?
Yes, thank you for asking. The theater has its own Facebook presence, and that's a function of we're selling tickets, we're promoting, it's a sales thing. So only certain divisions have separate pages. We all rolled up under TCSD, except the museum and the theater, which are more of a patron membership sales technique, has a /Temecula Theater Facebook page, and then Instagram, and then on the website it's temeculatheater.org. Although currently the website doesn't have anything actively for sale, the videos can all be viewed on Facebook and YouTube for the theater. So it's /Temecula Theater for all said social media, including Twitter.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Commissioner. And I suppose for myself, nothing else that I can add except for just really the shout out and underscoring the work that was done for the parade. Just an awesome, I had the opportunity to participate in my own neighborhood, and just to see all of the people, the excitement, people made it an event. And hats off to the team. And some of those folks, I think, went out nearly every night, or every time we rolled the parade. Isn't that right?
Oh, the patrons, or the Frosty and Rudolph? Yeah.
Rudolph, and then some of our staff, too, right?
Right. So Jeff Lawrence drove Frosty and Rudolph every night. And then the special events team was there. Willa, we have the Schwenks were in their neighborhood. So it was beyond expectations. And then Santa got profiled in the paper, and we were just elated with all of the publicity, and the Willa's emails were just, when we'd get them every night, I'd have a lump in my throat of, she got so many thank yous and tears in their eyes, and the kids were super excited. So that is palpable. So we're pleased for the reimagination and innovation that our staff has to not let Christmas pass by without celebrating it.
Agreed.
This way.
Yeah, really, really well done. Extremely well executed by the team, and just my profound thanks. It was just a special. I don't know how many of the other commissioners had the opportunity to participate in the parade, but it was breathtaking just to keep going around every corner, not only to see all the lights and the sights and the sounds, and a lot of cool houses that weren't even on our on the light tour, but very cool and very much appreciated. So once again, thank you to the team.
Chair, before you go
Of course.
on, I know she's not part of the panel, but I know she's watching online. And so shout out and a thanks to Dawn, because that whole concept was her brainchild, and her special events team always executes it. But yeah, but the DA's office comes through again. So thank you. Great job.
Thanks for pointing that out, because I have been monitoring this whole time if any attendees showed up, and I totally missed her. Great job, Don. All right, that concludes our division reports this evening. Let's move on to our consent calendar. We have one item on our consent calendar this evening, and I will go ahead and read the rules. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine, and all will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no discussion of these items unless members of the Community Services Commission request specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. So the first item tonight is to approve the action minutes. Are we just going to do both of them together, or should we do them separately, Jennifer?
I think we can do them together.
Okay, very good. And as a point of order, Commissioner Sizemore would abstain, is that correct? Okay. All right. With that said, is there a motion to approve the action minutes of November 9th, 2020 and December 7th, 2020?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sounds like a, oh, and did I hear any opposed? And just one abstention. So 401. I got my math right. Did I do your job again, Jennifer?
No, you did a great
Did I
job.
step in and I get
It's
a little ahead
perfect.
of myself, sorry.
No, that's okay.
All right, and then the eighth item tonight is a business item, which is to approve the renaming of Rorapah Ranch Community Sports Park to the Sports Ranch at Somers Bend. And I understand we have a report this evening.
I do, we do, but before we leave that, and I know, Chair, that you called out the vote, but I believe we have to individually kind of just take the roll on that.
Oh, sure.
For the previous item. So Jennifer, can you do your individual count?
Okay, sure. I have a motion by Adi and a second by Ruiz. Commissioner Kristevsky
Aye.
and Commissioner Size. Oh, no, we're not doing Sizemore. Commissioner Adi. Sorry.
Aye.
Levine.
Aye.
Chair Levine.
Aye.
Then that's everybody, right? 401.
That's correct.
Right.
Sorry to throw it off.
That's okay.
Okay. Thank you for that. Just wanted to make sure that we just did that. And did you want to tee up this item, or are you ready for us to jump in?
Yeah, no, this is one that I think we've had several discussions, I think formal and informal, over the last year or so.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Rorapah Ranch Community Sports Park has had a lot of opinions as to what the name could and should be. I think the developers had an opinion. There's been an opinion in the community. And
Yes.
tonight, I think just to sort of arbitrate it once and for all, this business item was presented and proposed, I think, by our council member Schwenk.
Yes. No, I think you did a great job. And just for the purposes also of our newest commissioner, and as the chair pointed out, this item actually comes to us as a joint item between Public Works and our department. Excuse me. And it is a carryover from last year's really previous Community Services Commission. Just going back a little further, the Roar Power Ranch Sports Park, which is being built as part of the Summers Bend, it's located on the Butterfield Stage Road between Calle Chapels and Marriott Hot Springs. It's a 21-acre sports park that the developers have worked with staff with for some community amenities that we've longed for, actually. And so previously, the developer proposed kind of changing the name to better brand the development. It kind of Summers from kind of a play on sommelier, kind of the whole wine vineyard theme. And to be quite honest, staff was not very impressed, and which was reflected in our recommendation. For the longest, we had been using or utilizing Roar Power Ranch Sports Park, and what was being proposed at the time really wasn't very compelling. Over time, the demand for the development has been overwhelming. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike, you can click to the next slide. I'm sorry. The demand for the development has been overwhelming, and there's been some resident and buyer feedback. And then also, as the chair pointed out, the TCSD president and Councilmember Schwenk, and as well as the public works staff, kind of requested a reconsideration of the naming decision to reinforce the branding of the development. So this time, after discussing with our TCSD staff, it was kind of determined that, you know, for brochure purposes and operational clarity, it would probably be easier to go with the rename and refrain from referring to it as RRSP, because we refer to Ronald Reagan Sports Park as that too. And we were kind of in the, you know, 1 and 2, RRSP1, RRSP2. But this time it really had to be a cooler name, to be quite honest. And so after some staff input, we kind of landed on the Sports Ranch at Summers Bend. And internally, we're already referring to it as the ranch. And we have all kinds of thoughts just in terms of branding. And it's something that staff is comfortable with, that Public Works is supportive of, and the developer would be very appreciative of it too. And we wanted to bring it back to the commission with a recommendation from staff. And I just wanted to provide a little bit additional background on it.
Thanks, Director.
I know we had a couple slides, but I guess we like this one very much.
Are you driving, Mike?
We like that one a lot. That concludes my presentation.
This is the mic drop moment, right? Literally.
Dropping the ball moment, I think.
No,
It's all good.
all good.
So we're happy. Mike's happy to field any questions now.
Adam, you have a question?
So yeah, kind of question, comment. Director Hawkins, you kind of touched on it. It sounds like maybe there's some marketing ideas behind it. When I got the agenda report and flipped through it, the only thing that kind of stuck out a little bit to me was the word ranch. And maybe just in my sports world, ranch kind of feels more old fashioned, more maybe ranch horses kind of stuff. And when I look at the site map, I feel like it's, you know, a little bit more modern, and it's got a little bit more of the feel of a traditional sports park. So I was going to ask for a little background on where that ranch came in, or if that was, it sounds like it was done very intentionally away from sports park to be done the ranch. But that was the only thing that kind of stuck out a little bit for me. Summers Bend, obviously, with the name of the build there, I'm fine with it. That part just kind of stuck out a little bit.
No,
It's the sports
Vice
ranch,
Chair,
right?
thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing that up. And yes, it was intentional because initially, as you recall, it was Royal Park Ranch Sports Park. And what we wanted to do is kind of link the old to the new. And it was an ode to the Royal Park Ranch aspect of it. And that's why we wanted to ensure that ranch was a part of it. And as we're going to Summers Bend. So yes, it was very intentional, but to link the two.
Gotcha. Okay. And I just think more of, you know, looking at this as a future site. I mean, the name and the branding will carry however we do it. You know, I guess it's just maybe not as common to refer to something as a ranch when you're talking about, hey, we're going to have a tournament, we're going to have a pickleball tournament, baseball tournament at this location. Like I said, for me personally, that connotation of ranch makes it sound like it's been around for a long time. Maybe not as nice as it could be, but again, that's kind of wordsmithing maybe a little bit, and maybe with the right marketing plan, you know, it gets pushed through that. I just don't want it to. I would hate to see it come across as something that doesn't reflect, you know, all of the amenities and the newness that it's going to offer.
Well, keep in mind that the official name is the Sports Ranch at Summers Bend. As I referenced internally, we just refer to it as the ranch. For example, the new name of Margarita will be the Mike Nagar Park, but internally we'll probably refer to it a lot as Mike Nagar Park, right? So anyway, that's really kind of just clarification on that.
Okay, no, I appreciate that, and I actually hearing it referenced that way as the ranch. You know, hey, games at the ranch this week. I mean, I could see some marketing stuff go over there too. That was really my only question or concern really on it. I think it does make sense. I think when we originally recommended or even put forth Royal Park Ranch, I don't think Summers Bend was officially called Summers Bend yet, or it wasn't officially going that route, and then the street name was going to be possibly, so it kind of made sense. So transitioning over to any reference to Summers Bend makes sense to me.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair. Comments or questions, Commissioner Sizemore?
It sounds cute. The ranch, it sounds cute. I love that it's right across from the blueberry farm, and so it kind of reminds me of that area. But I would agree with Commissioner Rua's comments. At first, I was a little taken aback by it because we refer to everything else as a sports park. And so I want to just make sure that the community recognizes it's under that title, that sports park, that there's no confusion of what the ranch is.
Good feedback.
Thank you. You know, and I think maybe to that point, and I was just trying to look at the presentation on my other computer, but I was curious if maybe there was an opportunity there to maybe have some sort of a placard, you know, what's in a name, you know, type of thing with the history. Maybe that would be a way to kind of mitigate that. But agree, good feedback. Commissioner Krastevsky?
Yeah, this is the first time I've heard this name. And similar to Vice Chair Ruiz, I thought it was a little strange at first, but within the 5 minutes we've been talking about it, it already sounds like a Temecula facility. And I think we can very quickly learn to accept it for what it is and enjoy the name. And I think people will colloquially call it the ranch, and it'll be great. I think it'll work. So I'm all for it.
Thanks, Chris. And last but not least, Commissioner Oddie.
Yeah, I guess being the oldest, I'm not the most senior on staff like Chair Levine, but I am the oldest now since Commissioner Borgeson left. And I think that I'm kind of comfortable with it. You know, I think of some of the new ballparks they were building 25, 30 years ago, Camden Yards. You even go back, Dodger Stadium at Chavez Ravine.
Chavez Ravine, yeah.
I still have my ticket of my first major league ball game that my dad took me to, and it said Chavez Ravine on it. It wasn't Dodger Stadium. So, you know, I think it can really work, and I think it, you know, and I know Commissioner Ruiz has been around the community a long time, and he remembers Royal Ranch quite well. But you know, to keep that part of history there, you know, I kind of liked it, so I'm kind of thinking differently, and it is a little bit different, and so again, it can help with the brand. But I felt comfortable with it, and as you can see, I've been spending time over there just following the construction, and those trails are well done at Summers Bend, and they flow right into that park. So excited about getting the name going and getting some kids out on those fields.
Speak to that point. I did inquire the ETA or completion date because I wanted to have a date certain for tonight. I was told fall. Now, we will nail that down at some point and we'll update you. So again, my apologies for that, but that was one of the first things I asked and couldn't nail them down on a date. So at this point, fall, and we'll provide updates when appropriate.
So before December 21. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Director, you mentioned some comments from the developer. Has the ranch at Summers been presented to them at all?
Yeah, so this iteration of the name was done in conjunction with him. If you recall, there was a presentation in front of you, and that was not one of the names. And so we were going with Royal Ranch. Their team met with some of the staff with different recommendations and a request to revisit, to be quite honest, as I pointed out. We checked with our team, and before we brought it back to you as a body, we wanted to weigh in on some of the name options, and that's how we arrived at the Sports Ranch at Summers Bend. And they thought it was a good compromise, and felt comfortable with that. And so we walked away feeling pretty good and wanted to present it to you and appreciate the feedback and comments. That we'll make sure that they understand that as well too.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. I just want to make sure that we weren't going to maybe propose this name change and then find ourselves, nope, we still don't like it. Can we revisit it again and kind of continue on that road? So I appreciate that.
Thank you to all my colleagues. You know, I think I went into this thinking, I understood the history of the area, the linkage to Royal Ranch, and kind of being a history person anyway, it made sense to me. But I think you guys have brought up some good points, and I think staff will definitely come up with some kind of a compromise, because I do like the name. I think it's catchy, and to Commissioner Adi's point, I think they'll eventually get to it. But I guess it makes sense for us to take a vote on it. So is there a motion to approve the renaming of Royal Ranch Community Sports Park to the Sports Ranch at Summers Bend?
May I ask a question? Is Commissioner Sizemore voting on this one?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a recommendation to give her an opportunity to make her first motion.
Okay, great. move that we rename the park to the Sports Ranch at Summers Bend.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sizemore and a second by Commissioner Adi. Vice Chair Ruiz,
Aye.
Commissioner Kristevsky,
Aye.
and Chair Levine.
Aye.
5-0, unanimous vote.
Thank you.
Clears the floor. All right. Director's report, Mr. Hawkins.
After listening to all those great reports, I really don't have much. Welcome, Commissioner Sizemore, and welcome back, commissioners. Really, you're hearing Commissioner Sizemore. We had our briefing, which was great. It was great kind of having a conversation. I appreciate you, Chair Levine, kind of jumping in too. But we used the term and kind of the phrase TCSD family a lot. And you heard Vice Chair Ruiz talk about kind of this TCSD family earlier too. And I hope you get a sense of what we were talking about. And I think we use the example of like cooks, right? And, good cooks, you can taste the love like in the meal, right? And so all the programs that we've gone over, I hope you can feel kind of the love and pride that goes into it. Because that's truly one of the ingredients. I think everyone on the call has introduced themselves. Bea, who's our exceptional cultural arts superintendent, and Cassandra is one of our newer supervisors out of contract classes, and she's just incredible. You saw Wooten Free, Mike Wooten, who's kind of the jack of all trades, excellent senior management analyst, but is really kind of in the role of an administrator and manager now, homeless outreach. Robin did a tremendous job, but you're really going to be pleased, and we're really pleased with the job he's doing right now, and I expect bigger things. We have Jennifer JD, who's our assistant extraordinaire, and so she keeps us on track. And then our assistant director, Erica Russo, and a second to none there too. So that's our team that's on tonight. Just two quick comments. I think, and thank you because during this entire process, we talked a lot about being in a virtual kind of format, and we've had all these activities, and we're in a Zoom environment right now too. Alongside of us, and part of that team has always been IT, and Chris is on the line now too. And Chris and IT and the IT team, they're exceptional. And so our thanks and appreciation to you and to your team over there as well too. Thank you. So let's see. Vice Chair Ruiz, you had talked about the maintenance. And kind of even in this environment, right, that the maintenance was still exceptional. I just recall it might have changed a bit, but kind of in a pre-COVID environment. And I know we're just coming off of our community services master plan, but we were looking at the maintenance and kind of any maintenance recommendations and things like that. And I remember when I first started here too, I was also kind of amazed and impressed with the maintenance that Temecula has provided for its park systems. And looking at, for example, in some of the master plans and some of the best practices, between $5,000 and $7,000 per developed acre was considered good maintenance kind of investment. Now, remember, I did a tour in San Bernardino, right? And so their maintenance standards ratio was pretty much 2,000 to 2,500 per developed acre, right? Which showed, right? Temecula was at 10,000 per developed acre. And so it exceeded kind of the best practices, and it was among the best, and was something to point to. So again, I just wanted to share that, and I recall that off the top of my head. The final thing that I wanted to share, since we don't have any items on the council agenda tomorrow, was kind of looking back over the year, and we've talked about kind of all of these qualitative aspects to our operations, which has been good. It's been heartwarming, and the community has appreciated it. We've needed it. And so, and when you talk about the congregate meals and the delivery and our seniors and our special needs and our arts and our culture, classes and, recreation, library, and just, homeless outreach and everything. But at the same time, too, what's been just as important has been the quantitative aspect of it, too, which has been, for me, critically important. And I think, Chair, I share this with you, that, a department that's funded pretty much by Measure C, which is kind of the property tax and tax assessment, but primarily out of Measure S funds, that it's important when there's so much cynicism as it relates to government and at the national and state level, that residents can see, or you have something that's visible where you see the return on your investment, where you see that that with the social media posts, where you see with the programs, where if we have the ability to safely do it, we will find a way to, yes. And so, although we have these qualitative disciplines, just quantitatively, it was really important to show a return on the investment and to show that we are being responsible with your tax dollars when people are hurting, when businesses and business owners are hurting, when households are having to scale back, that there are program offerings when we can offer them, and pretty much all of our programs are at no cost. That is our charge. That we are part of this portfolio. When people say they live, work, and play in Temecula, we're part of that, right? When people are making these decisions, where businesses are making these decisions, this goes into it. And so, while we're definitely pleased, we are the fund department, and we are that department that cares, that's not mutually exclusive to being fiscally responsible and being very efficient and effective in what we do. So I just wanted to share that. So welcome to 2021, and that concludes my report.
Thanks, Director Hawkins. And we will move straight away into our commissioner reports. Commissioner Krastevsky, we'll start with you.
Well, like everyone else, I want to say welcome to Commissioner Sizemore, and we're excited to have you as part of the team. Excited to be in 2021, and I'm excited because I actually got to participate in an event with the holiday light decorating contest, and had a blast riding around with everybody on the bus and judging Christmas lights. So it was a game changer for me, because it's been tough with COVID and not having really many things to participate in. It was nice to be able to take part of that. So other than that, nothing to report. Looking forward to this year.
Thanks, Chris. Commissioner Adi.
I will keep it short, but since we're doing the sports analogies tonight a little bit, I think we're kind of in a rebuilding year, right? Rebuilding year. You guys were absolutely amazing to hold down the fort for us this year, and this is our comeback year. And with this team and this family, I know it's going to come back really, really strong as we bust out of this thing. So just looking forward to a great new year. Thanks, Chair.
Here, well said. Let's go Vice Chair Ruiz before we head over to Commissioner Sizemore.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Director Hawkins and Commissioner Audi. My comments was going to be almost the same. 2020, I think, is a year that, as much as we would like to forget, I'm very proud of what this department and our commission and our city really was able to accomplish, given that. And I think setting up for hopefully a much different 2021. But regardless, I feel that we're prepared to tackle anything that's thrown at us, and we've proven that. And being able to look back and reflect on that, I really am proud to be part of this team and proud of what we were able to get accomplished there. Only other comment for the night, and it's just kind of on my notes for beginning part of the year. Just want to keep that reminder out there to have a conversation here, hopefully in the next month or two, on some of the sports teams and some of the grandfathering and some of the stuff that we had talked about before. I'd still like to have a discussion, whether that's offline before the commission or maybe at the commission level. And Director Hawkins, you can reach out to me and let me know what's the best way for that. But regardless, we're here in 2021. I'm excited to carve a new path for our future moving forward. Again, Commissioner Sizemore, welcome to the family, and that will conclude my comments for this evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Vice Chair. Hey, Commissioner Sizemore, I did this deliberately to sort of give you a flavor for how we sort of do those commissioner reports and updates. So I turn it over to you, madam.
Thank you very much, Chair Levine. I want to thank Director Hawkins for spending some time with me last week and kind of giving me a lowdown of how everything works and welcoming me. And thank you to Chair Levine for also taking some time out of your schedule to just work on mentoring me and showing me how the commissioner role works. I also want to thank former Commissioner Borgeson. You've left some big shoes to fill, and I am honored to have the opportunity to work at filling them. Thank you, everyone, for the warm welcome. Hearing that the Community Services Department has hired employees for the Summer Aquatics program and is planning that gives me hope. That gives me hope for 2021, and it makes me feel very hopeful hearing that tonight. And I'm looking forward to seeing how our summer programs roll out. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Commissioner Sizemore. So before we wrap up for the evening, just a quick reminder that we have an annual report next month for City Council. I think Bea, you're putting together the outline and the slides, and if I remember correctly, and you can let us know here, but I know you typically have a framework that you put together, and we sort of take turns kind of announcing different accomplishments from the previous year. It's about 5 to 10 minutes in length. For us, it's usually 10, and every minute that they can give us, right? But can you give us a little preview?
Yes, sir, Chair Levine. Currently, I have a template that I shared with you briefly. I'm populating it, but it is 20 slides. It goes by quickly because we put about 5 or 6 accomplishments, awards, highlights for each division. I'm adding right now the graphics and the accomplishments list you have. I highlighted in yellow the ones that I intend to put on the slide, but it's all flexible. So by this Friday, I'll be able, or sooner, I'll be able to give you those 20 slides. And again, we're not necessarily going to read every single point on there. Maybe if you pick 1 or 2 to point out or highlight or give some anecdote, personal reference to it. I think the slides speak for themselves. They will be visual. They will have the text on them. And then at the end is our opportunity to give our future visioning and then the conclusion, which is just closing remarks. So I'll do my best to populate the slide, the visuals, the text, and also some speech or, lingo. But again, we don't want it to be just ad lib, talk off the top of your head, and I don't want it to be fully scripted. So it's somewhere in between of keeping it brief, keeping to the point, but also making it personal versus reading, we did this, we did that.
Vice Chair?
Just a logistical question. I know that we've kind of done some stuff virtual, some city council has been in person, where the commission reports are in person. Would we be doing this live, or would we be doing this in a Zoom platform?
Well, it depends, but my thought is that it's going to be in a Zoom environment. If that's what the council meetings are looking like. We know that tomorrow's council meeting is going to be in a Zoom environment. The only two in the chambers will actually be the city clerk and the mayor. And then the rest of the council will be in their respective offices, either at work or at home, as well as staff. That's evaluated kind of on a week by week basis, and we'll take it from there. If anything changes, or as soon as we know definitively, we'll make sure you know. But I'm just counting at this point on a Zoom environment. I would like to be wrong.
No, I appreciate it. It's on the calendar already, so thank you.
I know we've always wanted to incorporate some video at some point in, those were discussions we had back when Commissioner Nelson was on board. If we are able to complete the Get to Know Your Commissioners episode and we can take excerpts, I would like to incorporate that. But again, it's like we're trying to fit too much goodness in a small package. So my dream would be that we could have little clips that I could click on, and then it would, but I don't know if we'll get there. That's too ambitious. So right now it is 20 slides, mostly divisional summaries with introductory, comments at the beginning, introduction of all the commissioners, and then the conclusion. We would have to, I'm just putting talking points and suggestions for visioning things like restoring staffing, implementing the community services master plan, opening safely and responsibly. So just big talking points, but you guys can adjust and then let me know what edits you'd like. And then, the presentation will be fully formed by Friday, and then all the edits can happen. And if we can add the bells and whistles, we will, but if not, we have plenty to report on.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any other questions, folks, on that? It's pretty straightforward. And again, if you could circle that date, it's the day after our next community services meeting. And as a matter of protocol, if for some reason you're unable to make the meeting for whatever reason, just please let Jennifer and Kevin and the rest of us know. That would be great.
So our next commission meeting is February 8th. The council presentation is February 9th. So Correct. If at the 8th, at the end of recording, we want to practice or go through the slides or something, that might be a good time.
Very good.
Yeah, I was hoping maybe, if not under director's report, I was going to set that aside. So either wherever you want it on the agenda.
Very good. All right, with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Adi and a second by Commissioner Kristevsky. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I have a vote of 5-0, unanimous vote.
Excellent. With that, we adjourn to that meeting on February 8th. Everyone stay safe. Great to see you. Talk soon.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.